Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shell Bhatnagar. This is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Well, it's another day of record highs on the Nifty again. You can see 22,426 on the Nifty right now, which is up about 50 odd points in this trade. You're also looking at several sectors that are participating in this kind of an up move today. Oil and gas, PSU banks, private banks, the power stocks, those are the ones that have been buzzing in trade. There has been an uptick from the lower levels, even in the mid and the small cap space, that have recovered in trade as well. And even healthcare, realty and metal stocks are back in action again in trade today. The stocks that are buzzing in trade, clearly BHEL is the stock of the day, 15% higher in trade right now. Very strong move coming in, and 273 rupees can be seen on the BHEL stock in the futures level as well. A very strong move coming in on that one. On the Nifty, it's NTPC, the first stock that we had discussed in the morning trading session with our expert, Chakri Lokpriya, who had talked about this stock as his preferred stock. 4% higher now, this one, as the top mover, in trade today. On the Nifty, Power Grid follows next. HDFC Life, ONGC, BPCL, Bajaj Auto. These are the stocks that are buzzing in trade. And how? Shell looks like we are on a strong footing, and what's even better is that now Moody's has raised the forecast for India's GDP growth to 6.8%. That's another positive that's coming in the way of Indian markets.
Monday as far as markets are concerned. Of course, the star performer is BHEL. If you look at the breakout that's happened on the back of news that its customer NTPC would be setting up a 17,000 crore rupee expansion at one of its power projects, BHEL being the main vendor, has been doing fairly well. It's the price breakout that's happened on BHEL which is fantastic. If you look at the volumes that have been traded on the National Stock Exchange, BHEL is of course the top performing counter in terms of both gains as well as volume. 4,721 crores of prices of volume has happened. Counters up 15%, 271.90. Let's see whether it hits 20% today or not. But the fact is that 18 crore 21 lakh shares have been traded, and I think this is the highest since let me just see what BHEL is saying. Yes, this is the highest that we've seen since July of 2011. The other trade, Sakshi, that's worked very well is of course Tata Power. If you remember, we had talked about the move that has happened on its 385 rupee call, which was spotted at about 14 rupees. It went all the way up to about 19 rupees 87 paisa and is now in the vicinity of 18 rupees. So that has worked very well. And the fact that we caught NTPC, Coal India, it's the entire PSU pack, Sakshi, which is doing very well. Look at Steel Authority of India, look at Gas Authority of India. These are all counters which are trader favorites and are showing strong traction. If you look at the top 5 or 7 counters in terms of volume, you have BHEL at the top. SAIL is ranked 3rd in terms of 1443 crores. NTPC at the 5th position, 1166 crores. Then you have Tata Power at about 878 crores, Gas Authority at 867, and Oil India at about 857 crores. So this is the, how should I say, the empire, the PSU empire, Sakshi, that's striking back.
Absolutely. Time to welcome our guest on the show. Ruchit Jain joins in. He's the lead research analyst at 5 Paisa. Ruchit, good afternoon and welcome to Business Today Television and to Market Today. Crisis of plenty, record high in markets, and of course several pockets that are moving, including the big bang power packed move that we are seeing across the board today.
Yeah, hi, very good afternoon, Sakshi. Very good afternoon, Shel sir. Well, definitely the market's trend was decided last week on Friday itself. When after a consolidation of about 1.5 months, the markets resume its uptrend post that GDP numbers. And what we are witnessing now is the follow-up move of that momentum. So definitely today not a big move on the index side, but if you look at stock-specific moves, especially the PSU names which you all were just talking about, it clearly indicates a good buying interest among specific stocks. So, and I think this momentum in some of the PSU names and even the broader markets is likely to continue. If you look at some of the options data, then 22,200, 300 put option has good amount of open interest addition which is going on, which indicates that in case if we get any kind of dips, about 100 points dips even from current levels, then it's likely that we would witness some good buying interest on such declines. So this remains a buy and dip market if the index are not giving big moves, but opportunities are always there in stock specific momentum.
Sakshi, I think it's now more of formality. We'll check out Ruchit with BHEL. Ruchit, just how much is just 3.5 percentage points left as far as the first 20% circuit is concerned on BHEL. This is overstretched, obviously, on daily charts. What do you think is BHEL telling you?
So there's no doubt about the price volume action, which remains quite robust today. Look at the volumes compared to daily average, it's quite good. Certainly, it's already up by 17%, so difficult to enter a fresh trade with proper risk reward ratio. But I think this is quite good to hold and ride the trend if anyone has bought at lower levels. So if I look at the weekly chart, then the previous highs were coming around 300, 310 kind of range, which would be the next resistance. And it happens many times that when the trend is very strong, the stock continue its up move even when the momentum readings are overbought. So as I said, already up 15-16%, so difficult to give a fresh recommendations because the stop losses would be very big. But in case if anyone is holding the positions, then I think they should enjoy and continue to ride this trend.
Okay, so don't exit. Sakshi, the other point I just want to make on BHEL is the open interest number. It's 21.2% higher on today compared with Saturday. And of course, this is a lot size which is of 5,250 shares. So doing fairly well in terms of price and volume action, Sakshi.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's as far as BHEL is concerned. Ruchit, anything else that strikes you from the power pack performance today? NTPC, Power Grid, Tata Power?
So amongst the PSU names, ONGC is one stock that is catching my eye. We have seen some kind of dip in last few trading sessions. If you look at the volumes, whenever the stock price is going up, it has been supported by good volumes, and any kind of corrections which are there, we have not seen any high volume sell-off in ONGC. And on a bit longer term charts, if I put the retracements, then possible targets for the stock are coming around 300 to 305 rate. So I think a decent upside from a short term perspective could be seen in ONGC. So ONGC can be bought even at current levels with stop below 270 and expect targets around 300 odd levels.
Okay, got that. And along with this, Reliance Industries has now moved to a fresh high as well. 3,019 now being seen on that one. A very strong move on this one as well. Ruchit, could you look at this chart and tell us, of course, a fresh high there. What's next?
So I think the trend should continue. So primarily along with the technicals, I had to add some of the options data there too. If you look at the open interest of Reliance, then 3,000 call option. So being a round figure 3,000, there was we can assume that there was a good writing over there. The total open interest today is around 33 lakhs, and if you look around over 2.5 lakhs OI used. So clearly indicating that the call writers are unwinding the positions of 3,000 strike. Open interest is going down, still 33, 34 lakhs odd open interest is there. So I think this combination of short covering as well as since the stock is around its high, so fresh long buying interest would be there. and I think such combinations usually leads to a good trended phase. So possible that we may see an extension of this up move which is going on.
Okay. So that's a lot of buzzing stocks that we immediately wanted to discuss with you, Rujit. But in that, we forgot to take your own stock ideas as well. So which are the two stock ideas that you're going with today?
So one would be a buy call in Cummins. So again, I'm going with the strength stocks where price up moves getting supported by good volumes. Last 7-8 trading sessions, we have seen some sideways action in the stock. Now it's resuming its momentum. So keeping a stop loss below 2700, one can go long for target somewhere around 2940. And my second pick was ONGC itself, which we already discussed. No, I think
Okay.
there even at current levels, it seems a good buying opportunity for targets around 300.
Okay, ONGC is something that we need to look at for two reasons. Oil is on a boil in the global markets, and you've seen a price tick of about $80 per barrel that's coming in. That's also the highest over a couple of months, let's say highest since 7th of November. Apart from ONGC, which of course is gaining rapidly, you have Oil India, which has hit an all-time high. Remember, this is accounting for, this particular company accounts for about 10% of India's oil exploration as far as crude oil is concerned. Record high here, 627, very smart view coming in on volumes as well. So far about 1 crore 40 lakh shares have been traded, which are much above the 5-day average. Now what else is moving apart from the stocks that we've already discussed in the PSU space? Let's just take a mild detour into what defense is doing. So Cochin Shipyard, I remember in the morning we caught it about 890. It went all the way up to 910. Now at 885.90, still 1.5% higher. Green tick on BEL, Masgaon Garden Reach Shipbuilders. So this is a theme that's doing well alongside BDL and BEML. Within the rail space, things are a bit quiet today, but if you look at the government concerns, RailTel down 3.5%, RVNL down 3%, Rights down 2.5%. These are the counters that are in the dark as far as prices are concerned. Let's look at the high beta space, spaces where you see a lot of move happening in. I think one of the blowout performances came today, apart from BHEL, was in Zomato. The counter 1.2% higher, 169.70, but the all-time high today is 175.60. So these are the few moves that are coming in, and a smattering of PSU stocks in the banking space are doing very well. Canara Bank 0.5% higher, 590. Bank of Baroda 1/3% higher, 272.70. Cummins now firing up, 2800. This is Ruchit's pick. Sakshi.
Absolutely, Shell. So that's as far as some of the buzzing spaces are concerned. The other interesting spaces to watch is the insurance players. HDFC Life, ICICI Pru. These are the kind of stocks that are somehow buzzing in trade. Anything that strikes you from the insurance space, Ruchit?
I think HDFC Life rewards good risk reward ratio is there because the stock price has already corrected from, it made a high of around 700, 712 at the start of December. From that 700 odd levels, we have already seen a correction up to 560. So the risk reward ratio is quite favorable that if we even witness a pullback move to retrace this up move, then 640, 650 could be the range where the stock could head higher. So if we get any kind of minor dips around 600, 590 range, I think that should be used as a good buying opportunity with stop loss below 560 for more short to medium term, and expect targets around 650 to 640 range.
Okay. So that's as far as the life insurance stocks are also concerned. Okay, let's look at some of the other stocks that are also buzzing in trade. Of course, apart from the power majors that we have been talking about right from the word go, there's also a improvement in the metals pack again that we are seeing. There was slight dip in the morning trade, but again stocks like Steel Authority, they're coming back in flavor again. How do you look at the metals pack, Rujit, and any particular stock over here that looks very strong to you on the charts? Now it's up 3.6% as far as sale is concerned. That's the one that I was looking at currently.
So steel-related stocks within the metals are quite strong. Yeah, you look at Jindal Steel or even Tata Steel. During the end of last week, we witnessed a breakout from many of these stocks above its previous swing highs. So even the volumes along with the price up moves are quite good. So we can expect some gradual up move in this stock. So if one is looking for any kind of buying opportunities within the metal space, I think stocks related to steel industry could do well. Tata Steel, of course, one is one of the pick where one can positional traders can look for buying opportunity. 148, 150 was a breakout range that we have seen during last week. So any declines towards that could be used as a good opportunity. Sale already it's up today, but still the momentum is quite strong in the stock. Even the volumes are quite high compared to what we usually see on a daily basis. So 148, 147 could be the short-term targets for sale as well.
Got that. So that's as far as the metal space and sale is also concerned. Yes, Shen.
Okay, let's just put in a word of abundant caution. There is a clarification that is coming in from BHEL, which says that while it is the lone bidder for the NTPC project, it is still to receive the order. This is the clarity that is coming in from the government, from the public sector enterprise BHEL that makes thermal power equipment for NTPC. The counter was up and running since morning. There is a mild bout of profit booking that's come in now at 265. Let's see how it moves. Intraday high was 275. Let's see how the last 45 minutes of trade pan out. This is what we'd like to mention in terms of how this stock price is moving. The company has clarified that while it is the sole bidder, it is yet to receive the order. The market may have a run up before that sharply. Okay, while the Nifty, ladies and gentlemen, is up just 28 points, it is not as if that all stocks are lying idle. Reliance at a fresh record high, 3019, 1.26 points higher. Let's also look at the kind of moves that this particular counter is providing. So the Nifty is at the moment 27 points higher. If you just look at the positive contributors, Reliance is contributing 32 points, NTPC at a record high has contributed 15 points, ICICI Bank at a record high, ONGC, Power Grid at a record high have contributed 10 and 7 points respectively. What is pulling the Nifty down is Infosys, a percent lower, 1639. That's deducted 15 points from the Nifty. M&M at a record high has slipped 2 percentage points for profit booking, 1923, and has cut away 8 points from the Nifty. ITC, JSW Steel and L&T are also experiencing mild bouts of profit booking. So this is the overall picture as far as the Nifty is concerned. When you look at the futures part of Nifty, I'd just like to point out the build-up of long positions that is happening within the heat map as far as Nifty is concerned. The long build-ups are seen in stocks such as NTPC, Power Grid, Dr. Reddy's, Reliance, all put together 4 plus 4, 8 plus 4, 12. Let's look at the short coverings also, which is 4 plus 5, 9, 12 plus 9, 21. So 21 stocks are contributing towards the rally, and there is a lot of build-up of shorts, specifically in Eicher Motors, in M&M. I'm talking about a sectoral move. Then you have some shorts getting built up in JSW Steel, which is 2.6% lower, and Tata Steel within the Nifty. As also you have mild bit of profit booking happening in HCL Tech, Infosys, Wipro and L&T. Sakshi.
few mid-cap movers at this point in time as well. We were discussing the oil and gas themes, and apart from the upstream majors that we've discussed like Reliance Industries, Oil India, ONGC already, it's the mid-cap gas names that are also gaining some traction. So Indraprastha Gas, Gujarat Gas, Mahanagar Gas, Petronet LNG. We can see, all of them up and about in trade. Ruchit, anything that strikes you positively from this pack?
I think IGL is one stock which is looking a bit better because we have seen some recent time-wise corrective phase of last couple of months, and the momentum readings on the daily charts have given a positive crossover. So this could be one stock that, in case if the entire sector moves up, then we could see a good momentum. The only thing is that we need a clean breakout above 460, which was the previous high of month of February. So if one is looking to buy anything from this, then I think partial positions longs could be formed at current levels. And if we see a follow-up move and a breakout over 460, then one should look to add more positions and do pyramiding over there.
Okay. So that's as far as the gas names are concerned. The other buzzing pocket that I can find within the mid-cap space is also, say, the chemical names, for example. Now, chemicals were interestingly coming up in our conversations over the last 2 weeks odd as well. So I can spot, Tata Chemicals coming back in flavor right now, about 3% higher in trade. Any particular trade that you can spot in the chemical space, Ruchit, that you'd like to highlight?
Tata Chemical looks interesting, but only if one is looking for some delivery-based buying, because the stock is from a very strong support around 930, 940 mark. If you look at some of the historical data, previously also whenever the stock corrected, whether it's in the month of October 2023, where the stock formed a low of around 930, then again in the November 2000, in the month of February also, we witnessed a similar kind of low getting formed. So strong support base around 930 mark. Till that is intact, the downside seems to be very limited now. So I think a gradual buying should be done, but only one should keep a bit positional perspective because the stop loss is a bit longer, so quantity too should be adjusted there.
Okay, Sakshi, what we'll do is we'll look at some other parts of the market, and we'll see how stocks apart from the PSU space are doing. Let's slip into NSE 100 and find out how markets are moving at that end. I'm sure there are a lot of stocks within that space which are doing fairly well. Let me just highlight a few. Let's look at ABB. It's actually the broader power theme that spread across the board. So ABB is at a record high, 56.37, 2.5% higher. We've seen a lot of moves coming into Colgate Palmolive, 2% higher, 25.75. Remember, this is one of those rare FMCG counters which is now consolidating near record highs. Of course, Hindalco is doing pretty well given the fact that metals are shining, 527 for you, about 1% higher. DLF is moving strongly, 0.7% higher, 929.65. If you look at the volume buzzers, that's of course Gas Authority, 191.45. The counters at a record high, 3.8% higher, and about 4 crore 79 lakh shares have been traded. I would also look at HDFC Life. It's the insurance plays, Sakshi, which are doing pretty well because of some changes that the government has introduced. So HDFC Life, 3.5% higher. Within the government insurance space, you have NIACL, National Insurance, as well as GIC Ray and LIC, all doing fairly good as far as the price and volume action is concerned. Ruchit, to you, would you have a view on HDFC Life, one of those rare stocks which are still below 200 DMA in this kind of a roaring bull market?
So I think yes, a good opportunity to buy the stock, because I think the price-wise corrective phase has been done. From 700 to 560, we have seen a good corrective phase in last 2 or 3 months, and the momentum readings also have given a positive crossovers from that oversold zone. So I think the downside should be limited from here on. It dips towards 600, 590. If we get some, then that could be a good buying opportunity in HDFC Life.
Okay. All right, so that's as far as HDFC Life is concerned. A lot of moving parts are limited to oil and gas, PSU banking names, power names, oil and gas, especially the OMCs upstream and the gas names are concerned in this kind of a market. And of course, the power names that we've been talking about all day through. Among the OMCs, Ruchit, is there any stock that looks positive to you? We've seen a fair share of re-rating for all these three stocks in the recent past.
So BPCL is looking quite attractive over here. Although we have already seen a good run up in OMCs, in the month of November, December, and January. We witnessed some correction, in last 15-20 days, but we have not seen any kind of high volume sell off in this all the three OMCs. That means clearly indicates that there could be some short term corrections, which would be more of a time wise corrective phases rather than price wise corrections. But if one is looking from a bit mid to longer time frame, then I think these corrections should be used as a good buying opportunities.
Okay, let's look at the banking space, which we haven't touched yet, and it is still the PSU banking story that looks very positive even now. We touched base in the morning when stocks like Union Bank of India, Bank of Maharashtra, they were still in the move, and right now they're up a percent or so. Of course, SBI is something that is getting increasingly bullish takes from a lot of analysts at this point. Rujit, what about you? SBI or the second round PSU banks? Where would you be placing your fresh bets?
So the leadership suddenly comes from SBI, and we have seen that in last 1.5 months, the price volume action has been quite strong in SBI, where any kind of up moves are supported by good volumes. The recent corrections, we have not seen any kind of volume-based sell-off in that. So I think, of course, the SBI would continue to be on the forefront in the leadership front, no, and that stock could head high towards 800 mark quite soon.
Okay.
Sakshi, let's look at some other stocks within the F&O space which are doing pretty well in terms of price and are not marked as yet. Let's look at the NBFC space and Piramal Enterprises. This used to be a market darling at one point of time. Now about 2.9% higher, accompanied by a decent 3% uptick in volume. Piramal Enterprises, let's see how it is doing on the charts. Okay, it's a 3-day move from the 200-day moving average. Let's see with Ruchit whether this is something exhausted or does it have future legs. Ruchit, to you, the counter is highest since mid-December. What is your view?
So view is positive on the stock. It's on the verge of a breakout, of a falling trendline resistance. And if we see a good follow-up move in, maybe tomorrow's trading session, then we could see an up move towards 1,000 kind of levels, where the next resistance is placed. So as of now, it's showing a breakout from a trendline, falling trendline resistance, and probably 1,000 could be expected in next 1 or 2 trading sessions itself.
Okay. This is something that's come in, and Sakshi, old favorites are coming back. Dixon Technologies, I see a price of 71.75. Of course, this is a high ticket item, but what can be done? It's at a record high. The rally moving on to the third day. Volumes aren't much, but price is price, and therefore we are marking it. Sakshi.
Absolutely, Shell. Let's now look at some of the other movers in this market. We've discussed quite a lot of oil and gas energy names, power names, metal names as well we've discussed in trade. In the morning trade, we were referring to the shipbuilding stocks like Cochin Shipyard, Mazacon, HAL. Some parts are still moving as of now. They're still up and about. Ruchit, any particular stocks from the shipbuilding stocks that look very positive on the charts right now, or which of these 3 or 4 stocks that look more promising?
Cochin Shipyard looks quite interesting. A relative outperformance, if you see, within the sector, has been shown by the stock in last few months. And whatever corrections we have got in the stock, the 40 days exponential moving average has acted as a good support base, which is now around 800 kind of levels. So I think in case if the stock in case if the entire sector shows a good momentum, then Cochin Shipyard, which would be one stock where we can expect a move towards 1000 kind of level. The stop loss on long positions should now be below 800, and one should expect levels around 1000 positional.
Okay. So that's the kind of move that we can expect. Cochin Shipyard looks positive among the shipbuilder stocks as of now. Let's again touch base with some of the other stocks that are moving up, apart from the oil and gas and the energy names that clearly seem to be in the limelight. From the mid-cap basket, I can spot Megasoft from the IT space that's coming up. Ruchit, the IT stocks have largely remained absent from this recent 3-day of a record high move on the Nifty, largely remained on the back foot right now. Anything that you believe that continues to be looking positive from the IT pack that will progress going forward from here?
From a very short term perspective, we have clearly seen that the RSI for the Nifty IT index is heading lower. So the lower RSI index indicates a loss of momentum. So we do not expect any significant up move or a positivity in the very near term in the IT stocks. But if you look at a bit mid to long term charts of many of the IT heavyweights, and they look quite attractive because of late we have seen that post the last quarter results which Infi announced, many of the stocks witnessed a good buying interest. So stocks such as HCL, TCS, Wipro, and even Infosys, I think these are the these are the large stocks where good buying interest would come in on declines again. The index has good support around 37,000 to 36,500, the Nifty IT index. So I won't recommend anything from a very short-term trading perspective. But yes, in case if one is looking for any positional trading, then on dips towards that 37,000, 36,500 range, if Nifty IT comes, then some of the large cap heavyweights which we just named, I think they could turn much attractive.
Sakshi, what we'll do is we'll take a quick break, and on the other side of that break will be Mr. Kunal Ramia. Ruchit, thank you so much for your wonderful ideas on how to trade these markets at record levels. I'm sure a lot of our viewers have benefited. A short interval, ladies and gentlemen, and on the other side of that interval is the last 29 minutes of trade on this lovely Monday afternoon.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Today on Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi, with me is BHEL Patnagar, and now we have a special guest joining in. Kunal Ramia now joins in. He's the founder of The Streets. Kunal, good afternoon. Good to have you with us on Business Today. Another day of record high moves being seen on the markets. Where exactly are you putting in fresh money now in this kind of a new run-up?
Very good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon, Shelsa and Sakshi, to you also. If you look at the overall trend, the trend is definitely very strong. In fact, we today saw very fresh breakouts coming on most of the counters, which really did not participate in the rally so far. And on the Friday evening itself, we were discussing about the counters like Tata Chemicals. We also discussed about IRCTC, Pyramid PEL. So now these counters are looking very attractive from risk reward point of view also, because they have done the fresh breakout rather than chasing the counter which are at the peak. As of now, being little defensive and trying to chase these counters which are doing the fresh breakout, where I'll think of putting my money in.
Okay. Good afternoon, Kunalji, and a very warm welcome to you on Market Today. What a pleasure to host you, sir. Maybe one or two stocks that you can discuss which look good on the charts.
So thank you so much, Shel sir. The first is definitely the PEL. The only reason for me to shortlist this PEL was that if you look at the 21st and 22nd Feb, there was an extreme volume and the counter gave a first breakout sign at around 950 on the futures level. Since then, the sideways consolidation continued in the range of around 30 to 40 points. And today we are witnessing the follow-through breakout coming in again. I think this entire downtrend of PEL is now coming to an end with a volumized breakout. So with the stop loss of around 950, one can think of accumulating this counter, and the positional target on this can be 1000 plus. And the second counter which we are witnessing as a fresh breakout is the Tata Chemicals. Now again on this counter, a massive downtrend. On the rollover date, we saw the prices of around 930, 940. With huge volume, this counter is giving a fresh breakout in today's move. So with the stop loss of I think around 980, one can initiate a buy on this. Buy on dip can also be a good strategy on this, and the targets can be 1050 to 1075.
Okay, and Piramal Enterprises has moved up 9% in just the last 2 or 3 trading sessions as well. A very strong move on that one too coming in. All right, Kunal, before we delve deeper into the details of the power space, the oil and gas space that's buzzing, and we take your top choices from those particular sectors, the big news that further gave some impetus to the market move today was Moody's upgrade of India's 2024 GDP growth forecast to 6.8%, where the ratings agency believes that apart from the domestic factors which are aiding the growth, it also expects India to now benefit from the global up move as well. And it also expects the policy continuity after the general elections and continued focus on infrastructure development. Where do you see this fresh positive move now coming in from the global perspective onto India will lead fund flows into?
See, Sakshi, if you look at the last 2 to 3 months performance of both the indices, we discussed again the same on Friday also that Bank Nifty has really underperformed so far. And largely the large cap, the private sector banks have not really performed. So if I were to put the fresh bet on it, I think this entire fund flow should come to these counters which are near to the 52 weeks low and offering very good risk reward ratio. So the counters like HDFC Bank or Kotak Bank, I think may just show a good reversal from the present level and a trend turning positive on those counters. I think these are the counters to watch out from risk reward point of view and from the fresh deployment point of view.
Okay. Right. Apart from this, Kunal, I'm also looking at a fresh move that's now coming in on Reliance Industries today. It's hit an all-time high level of 3,024 in trade. Where do you see the counter headed now?
Very clearly a higher top, higher bottom formation, not even a single week where the counter has actually turned negative. It's clearly consistently making new highs every week. So at this point in time, the strength is really good. And the best part of this counter is that it's moving up very slowly and steadily. So there is no impulsive move actually on the chart. So one can initiate a buy even at the present level. The stop loss will be the previous 2 days bottom, which is 29.70. And the targets can again be 30.50 to 30.75. As those targets are achieved, it's an advisable a trade to keep trailing the stop loss and hold the position unless and until the trailing stop loss is triggered.
Okay, let's take a detour into the markets now. We are at 3:06 p.m. About 24 minutes of trade is still left. There is a mild bout of profit booking that's seen across the board as far as the NSE 500 is concerned. BHEL, which was the top draw about 20-30 minutes ago, is now just 12.2% higher, 264. The clarification that has come in from the company in terms of whether it's won the order or it's just emerged as the lone bidder, sort of dampening the enthusiasm on the counter. No let up in terms of volume. Now 6,117 crores worth of shares have been traded on BHEL. Very decent up move coming on, very sharp volumes. Let's speak to Kunal on two other counters which are gathering attention. Tata Power, 3% higher on strong volumes, 392. Kunal, we are tracking the 385 call on Tata Power since morning at about 14 rupees. Your view on Tata Power?
So, Shell sir, if you look at the mid of February, we saw the decisive decline, and that decline was almost of around 10 to 11%. And since then, the counter went into sideways consolidation. Today is the day where the counter is trying to come out of that consolidation with a volumized breakout. So certainly, one can think of initiating a fresh buy at the present level. Also, the stop loss on this on the futures level will be around 380. That's 11 points away from this, and the targets can again be the previous high and the fresh high, which is at around 415. If someone is trading call options, certainly the call can even be initiated at the ITM level or at the ATM level too.
Okay, we'll just, the price that's mentioned, of course, is now 18.4. Remember, we picked it up at about 14.25, and the intraday value was 19.75. While there is no recommendation to carry it over for the next day, but the chart of Tata Power, given the tailwinds that we are seeing in the infrastructure space as far as power is concerned, are fairly strong, and the all-time high for Tata Power is somewhere beyond 400 rupees. Let's look at what else is ticking, which can gather Kunal's attention, and I'm sure it's Bharat Forge that's also ticking on some of his charts. At the moment at 1190, not much of movement coming in here, but nevertheless I thought I'll just mark the spot on the screen. Sakshi, what have you observed?
Nifty Bank Shell, it's now coming at the day's high level, about 0.4% of an uptick right now. It's 200 points higher in trade. So that's gathering some steam as of now. And within this, the private banks are something that are gathering some pace as well. And of course, we've been focusing on the PSU banks, but it's the private banks like, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, IndusInd, for example, they're gathering some pace, and some moves coming in on HDFC Bank as well. And of course, the financial services sector also contributing to the move on the Nifty Bank now, with stocks like, Bajaj Finserv and Bajaj Finance, of course, heavy weighted stocks, but slight moves there coming in. There's a Nifty Bank that's ticked higher. Anything from the Nifty Bank space that attracts your attention, Kunal?
So, Sakshi, as we discussed earlier, so I'm just eyeing as of now Kotak Bank. Now, this counter is in a pretty sideways consolidation, and the breakout is placed at around 1740. Presently, it's trading at around 1728. So, it's a conditional buy call. If the counter manages to cross 1740, then I think with the stop loss of 1720, one can initiate a buy on Kotak, and the targets can be as high as 1775 to 1780 for now.
Okay, that's as far as Kotak is concerned, the top choice from the banking space that may be looking positive as of now. Okay, shifting gears, let's look at the auto space, especially the two-wheelers basket. Stocks like Bajaj Auto, Hero Moto, of course, sticking higher in trade. Of course, recently we had the February sales, and from that time, we've been seeing some fresh moves come in the entire auto pack as well. Right now 2% higher for the Bajaj Auto stock at 8208, and even for Hero Moto it's ticking higher by almost 1% now at 4616 odd levels. Anything from the two-wheeler space, Kunal, that looks positive on the charts to you?
So the formations of Bajaj Auto are just looking amazing. As we saw in the previous, discussion counters where there was a consolidation, there is a decline, and then of course there is a minor consolidation of couple of days, and the counter tries to come out of it. The Bajaj Auto is qualifying exactly for that higher top, higher bottom formation here. I think with the stop loss of around 8,050, one can initiate a buy, and the targets can again be as high as the previous high, which is 8,500, and even higher this time, because the strength in today's counter with the gap of open is really very high.
Okay. Fair enough. So we've discussed banking, autos, and why shouldn't we discuss realty then if we are discussing the interest rate sensitive sectors right there, because that is ultimately one move that globally all the markets are expecting. There are all the eyes on the central bank meetings lined up for this week, which will give us some cues on how soon and how fast can interest rate cuts begin to happen as of now as well. Of course, domestically there have been some triggers positively for some of the counters here in the real estate space, but anything here that attracts your attention?
See, I love DLF the most, extreme strength on the counter. Look at the strength. It's clearly making higher top, higher bottom since I think October to November 2023 so far. Even in today's session, just look at 3 to 4 days back volume. There was the highest volume again recorded when it just made a lower bottom. I think this counter is perfectly poised for the continuation rally from the present level at 930 also one can initiate a buy. Now here the stop losses are going to be a little far because the strength is really very high. So with the stop loss of 905, one can think of accumulating this, and we can probably see 975, 980 again as a continuation rally.
Let's try and track some other parts of the market and focus on stocks where you see a lot of transactions happening at the circuit level. Right at the start of the show, Sakshi had mentioned Megasoft. This is a mid-cap, this is a small cap IT company now at circuit, about at 97 rupees 50 paise, and it's the upper circuit of 10% that's coming. So this is something that you need to look at. Another very well known counter, Tata Invest. This is the holding company of the Tata Group, and at about 8,428, it's stuck at the upper circuit of 5%. Remember, this has been one of those great value creators for a lot of funds which are invested into it, given the strength that we've seen in a lot of Tata stocks such as Tata Consumer, Trent, Tata Communications, TCS, Tisco, Tata Motors, all of them at record highs. The holding companies, by any stretch of imagination, should be also getting re-rated. What is also at a fresh circuit, there are not many names that I can think of. Let's look at the sellers only circuit. This also comes up with interesting names. I hesitate to take a few because those are slightly difficult to look at. NPST, this is a very well known company from the SME space, which catalyzes electronic and online transactions, down 5% at 1235. This is a post bonus adjustment that's happening. Inox Wind is 5% lower, 552. A lot of wind power stocks are reacting negatively because of the government's plans to bring back reverse bidding into the wind power sector, and that's not being taken very well as far as prices are concerned. Look at Suzlon, look at Inox Wind, look at Inox Green, all of them paying the price of this move which the government has initiated to bring in more competition into the sector. So actually, not many stocks, are taking markets sort of waiting for the final whistle at about 3:30 p.m.
Absolutely, Shell. You know what? We have been discussing data patterns, and let's not forget to discuss this again today, because it did hit an all-time high again in trade today, and 3080 was the level that it had hit intraday levels. Slightly came off the trade, 2856 currently. It's come off although, but if we look at the move that we have seen right from the time there was a stake sale, I think in the middle of February, the stock has really moved up about 50-60 odd % or so. Kunal, would you give your view on data patterns?
So, Sakshi, as you mentioned, I just checked the date. The date is around 16th of Feb, where we saw the massive volume, and the counter was trading at around 1900. And from there, this counter has made a clear higher top, higher bottom formation. And today's high was remarkably very high. That's 3080. And see, now there is a good selling pressure also building up. I think for now, there should be some kind of sideways consolidation on the counter for the new up move to begin. I would not really be, keen to catch this counter at this point in time. Only reason being, we don't know whether the volume which is turned up at the peak of today's session is kind of an offloading of something. So we'll just wait for this counter to consolidate. I think the revisit level would be 2650 to 2700, where one can think of revisiting this counter and seeing whether it's a higher bottom again to capture the ongoing rally.
One stock, Sakshi, I'd like to mark is Gland Pharma. We'll draw a long price chart for you. There has been a serious breakdown 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 4, 8. This is the 11th day of fall, and the fall on the 11th day is actually substantial. I was just looking at volumes here, Sakshi. 82 crores worth of transactions have happened, and the counters slipped about 5.5% today. Overall, it's declined from 2200 to 1700 in a span of about 10 12 trading sessions. Actually, let's just say 20 trading sessions. So this is not looking good, and it's now approaching the 200 DMA at 1599, which is a bit far off, but that's how it is. If you remember, early morning itself, the advanced decline ratio in the broader markets was not in the favor of bulls. Let's look at it now. Now it's definitely bears that are controlling sentiment on the Lal Street. 1464 stocks on the National Stock Exchange are slipping lower, just 812. Let's look at the ratio within the Nifty. Only 22 in the green versus 28 in the red. Let's look at NSE 500. Out of 500 stocks, only 178 are in the green. And there is also one particular data that I look at. Within the FNO space, it's almost even Stevens. 91 stock futures in the red versus 95 in the green, Sakshi. We have another 11 minutes to go.
Okay. Let's look at some of the stocks in the Nifty next 50 that are moving up. I think pharma was something that you were mentioning, Shell, and Zydus Life continues to gain traction again today. 2.6% higher right now for this one and at 946 odd rupees. Kunal, would you look at Zydus Life and tell us if you could track any chartical positive moves that one should be looking at?
Certainly, again, this is one of the counters which is clearly in an uptrend since 5 days. It was in sideways consolidation, and today's move is showing a first attempt of that breakdown of that breakout of that 5 days consolidation. So we'll just wait for a day. Let the counter give a breakout of around 955, which is probably today's high and couple of days previous high also. About 955, I think the counter might just continue with the previous rally, and the target based on flag and pole formation can be 985 to 990 again.
Sakshi, one of those low performers, let's just not use the word low performers, but quiet overachievers. Let me rephrase that. So one of those quiet overachievers is Petronet LNG, now again headed for its all-time high, which we saw about 20 trading sessions ago, 296.45, now at the moment 291. A fairly strong setup, a quasi-energy play in terms of how gases are moved in liquefied form from overseas to India. Kunal, what is PLNG telling you?
See, sir, if you look at the longer term chart, that's from 2016-17 so far, this counter was not really able to cross 290 mark itself. It attempted almost 4 to 5 times, but it was a failure. And see, today's session, the counter is decisively giving a breakout of that. So this consolidation breakout seems to be of around 6 to 7 years. So we'll just wait for a day. If the counter decisively remains above this level, I think one can initiate a buy. The fresh entry on this, the stop loss can be as low as, the stop loss has to be a little far, that's 275. And the targets can be as high as 350 to 375. Now, it's a positional view based on last 6 to 7 years of consolidation breakout.
Fair point. Now we are just about 9 minutes for the close as far as markets on Monday are concerned. And let's look at the new highs that have rolled into the markets on the Nifty as far as prices are concerned. These are, of course, familiar names that we've discussed since morning. NTPC, Power Grid, and Reliance from the energy pack. We have ICICI Bank screaming at 0.5% higher, 1090. Tata Motors and Tata Consumers is brightening up the day within the Tata stable record highs there. And of course, Adani Ports and Cipla. These are the two other stocks that are moving fairly rapidly. Let's look at volume buzzers. NTPC across the spectrum. Remember, this was the first pick that Mr. Chakri Lokpriya had discussed today morning before markets opened on market today. HDFC Life has moved rapidly. This has broken past its 200-day DMA, which is a good sign on fairly substantial volumes of about 70 lakh 64,000 shares. This is 2 times 5-day average. ONGC lightening up the trade 2.65% higher, 279, approaching its all-time high. And of course, mild bit of profit booking happening on Tata Steel and JSW Steel, accompanied by a sharp rise in volume. Sakshi.
Okay, let's look at a few other stocks. You know, we were mentioning about the insurance majors like HDFC Life. We touched even GIC Ray has picked up pace now. Remember, this is another stock that we have been tracking for a long time. And over the last 3-4 months odd, this has also been an outperformer. If you look at the last second half of the trading session today is where the volumes really picked up for this one, 2.2% higher for General Insurance Ray as well. Would you like to comment on GIC Ray, Kunal, and then we can move on with some of the other stocks?
It's actually the best two counters among the entire insurance segment, and those two being PSU. The first is NIACL and the second is GIC. Both are looking amazing. Look at the rally. The first breakout we saw on GIC was near to 200 mark, and since then this counter has clearly made higher top, higher bottom. Broader sideways consolidation of around 1.5, and then again now the stock is trying to resume its previous uptrend. So yes, one can certainly keep an eye on it. I think the breakout is still pending. The breakout can be above 410 for this counter with the stop loss of 395. Above 410, one can initiate a buy. The targets can be the previous high, which are 465, and then we'll keep sharing the targets with our viewer regularly on this counter.
Okay, 324 right now. Kunal, any BTST, STBT trades that you would like to give to all our viewers now?
Certainly. So when we started the show, I think Bajaj Finance was also trying to come out of that sideways consolidation of last 2 to 3 days. The massive downtrend is already been the breakout. So one can initiate a buy on Bajaj Finance at the present level. The stop loss will be 6560, and the targets can be 6800 to 6850. That's the first counter. And the second can again be IRCTC. Look at the price, it's clearly making higher top, higher bottom from the extreme low levels available at the support level itself. So with the 5 rupees stop loss from the present level, one can initiate a buy on IRCTC, and the futures target can be 965 to 970. On the spot level, the targets can be 955 to 960.
Five minutes left, Sakshi. Let's just start wrapping up the market. We've seen a flat trade on the Nifty today. No surprises here. Friday was a blowout in terms of record highs, and the Nifty is now sort of digesting that very sharp rally that we saw in, trying to end 27 points higher. 22,400 is with the bulls. That's a good sign as far as the rest of the week is concerned, as also the fact that March has been more or less a very, very volatile month as far as history is concerned. Let's look at the contributors in terms of the counters that have helped the Nifty on its way up. It's Reliance, NTPC, ICICI Bank, Axis Bank and ONGC. Put together, these 5 have pulled up the index to the tune of about 60 points. The stocks that have pulled the index lower: Infosys, M&M, TCS, ITC and JSW Steel, correcting anywhere between 0.5% to 2.4% in terms of losses. And collectively, these 5 stocks have pulled down the index to the tune of about 35 points. On a net level, the Nifty is up today by 29 points, 22,407. The Nifty Bank now a stronger of the 2 indices in terms of how charts are poised, and within the Nifty Bank, it is stocks such as ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, State Bank of India. It's the entire private banking space which is pulling the index higher. Kotak Bank 0.2% higher. Disappointments in terms of a mild bout of profit booking on SBI, no worries there. And of course, today also HDFC Bank ending mildly on the green side, 2 rupees 30 higher as far as prices are concerned. We've also mentioned record highs so far as the Nifty is concerned. In terms of volume breaks, We've seen strong profit booking on the metals side, accompanied by a sharp rise in volume, and of course the PSU energy basket has taken it away on the long side. Tata Chemicals, Sakshi, weekly high, monthly high and daily high, 3.5% higher. Full marks to Kunal, catching it now in the 4-digit space, 1006.
Absolutely, a very strong move there, 3.4% higher for that one. Okay, Kunal, good time as 2 minutes remaining for the markets to shut shop. How do we prepare for tomorrow? Where exactly should investors and traders be keeping their focus for tomorrow's trading session?
So again, Sakshi, the counters which have given the fresh breakout today, I think one can continue to watch out for those counters tomorrow. On the indices, rather than thinking of too much being done on the upside, I think one should try to buy on every decline. Both the indices are looking really very strong, and the counters like EEL or say Tata Chemicals, Laurus Lab for the sake of it, or say Bajaj Finance, which we discussed today, I think are looking very good. Even from a BTSC point of view, and even from this entire upcoming week point of view. So these are the pockets to watch out for.
Okay, well, on that note, thanks a lot then, Kunal, for being with us on the show and sharing with us all those exciting stocks, and we will continue to mark out all the stocks that you mentioned. In fact, Tata Chemicals has now broken the 200 days moving average on the upside as well. So very strong move coming in, and again, kudos to you, Kunal, for picking that up as well. All right, let's wrap up the markets now. A minute to go before we shut shop for the day. 21 points higher, and the Nifty again is at 22,400. And trying to close above that level again. The Nifty Bank, the better one of the major indices, and 0.3% of an uptick could be seen on this one, 145 points of an upside. The mid-caps were up about just 0.1% higher in trade. The sectors that were doing well, oil and gas, the one that was performing the best of the lot, 1.9% higher. Private banks picked up pace, 0.3% of an uptick. Financial services, Nifty Bank, PSU banks. So the banking majors, energy basket, that was clearly in the show today. Apart from this, we actually saw a lot of profit booking really taking place. So IT was the one that did not participate. Almost 0.8% of a decline for that one. Small caps, so the broader markets, there is a mixed trade. 0.5% decline for the small cap 100 index today. FMCG, autos, consumer durables, metals, healthcare, realty, they all saw huge bouts of profit booking towards the last half of the trade as well. Among the stocks that moved the markets as far as the Nifty is concerned, NTPC. Remember, we began the markets with NTPC as the top gainer. We are ending the markets with NTPC as the top gainer on the Nifty, 3.7% higher in trade. Power Grid, HDFC Life, ONGC, BPCL, Bajaj Auto, Dr. Reddy's, Coal India, Reliance Industries, the top movers on the Nifty. On the downside, Eicher Motors did not perform from the auto space. It was down about 3%. JSW Steel, SBI Life. So contrasting trades there. M&M, Britannia, LTI Mindtree, Tata Steel and Apollo Hospitals, and Infosys down in the red. When we talk about the F&O movers, BHEL clearly stole the show today. 13% higher is where it ends in, with some mild profit booking at the top levels that we really saw after that clarification of the report came in. Piramal Enterprises 6% higher. The last few minutes of trade is where we saw strong action on this one. Indraprastha Gas, Tata Chemicals, Godrej Properties, Tata Communications, MGL, that's Mahanagar Gas, were the other big movers as far as the F&O action is concerned today, along with Tata Power, GAIL and Petronet LNG, also giving us a strong showing over there. So the 22,400 mark by its side on the Nifty, that's where we end. All right, with that, we wrap up this special trade. Many thanks, Shell, for being with us, and we will get back to you in the markets tomorrow morning as well. Until then, do stay with us on Business Today TV, as a whole lot of action on the other side continues, which will tell you as to where do you keep your focus on as far as the IPO market is concerned, because this is 1 week where we are seeing a slew of new IPOs opening up. So all those details coming on the other side very soon.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
Well, thank you very much for the hospitality. The Prime Minister encouraged me to come see what you put together here, and I was very impressed with the statue and what a great design and how quickly you built it. And of course, I was glad to